Alright guys, welcome back. This is the Crown Clown, and today we are doing What If Deku Was the Son of Zeus? So I hope you guys get ready for this, because we're picking up exactly right where we left off after this quick recap. So, where we last left off, Poseidon had lost an arm protecting Deku from the fight with Nyx, and Deku had gotten his revenge on Apollo. And there were questions in the comment section like, what if Poseidon had golden blood? And for this, no, he does not have golden blood. He has the same red blood, because basically the way I'm basing these characters off of, so kinda, is their, mythology parts, but also from the God of War series, kind of. So their blood and aspect is the same as in God of War. So that's done. They have normal human blood, because golden blood would cause a lot of issues, and the golden blood does have like different properties to it than normal blood does. So yeah, just for simplicity's sake, it's red. But anyways, so Deku asked Poseidon if he knew what cybernetics were, and Poseidon's like, no, don't think I do. Mind explaining it to me? And Deku tells him, yeah, basically, they're gonna give you a new arm. And Poseidon says, okay, I'll accept that, but what is my new arm gonna be made out of? And Deku said, basically, probably since you're strong enough anyway, they could probably make it out of carbon steel. And Poseidon's like, no, I have a better idea. And Deku's like, what? And he says, have my trident melted down and forged into the metal for the arm. And Deku's eyes widen. He's like, are you kidding? That's your trident. Like, are you kidding me? And Poseidon's like, look, I need an arm more than I need a trident, and besides, I'm gonna make sure they add some interesting design choices to this arm. So, yeah. And, UA is having a lot of heated press on them right now, so everyone's out of school for about 3 weeks, giving them a break to recuperate and, refocus and get their lives back in order. And before they can come back, each student is having to undergo a psychiatric psych evaluation to make sure that they're mentally stable for continuing on with the hero course. So when it comes to Deku, like, Deku just sweeps it. He's perfectly good in mental health, but they do realize that he does have a lot of anger issues, and that could cause some serious problems later on down the line. So they are making him well aware that, hey, you are going to need to, severely open up to this and just have some anger management control. And Deku's like, don't need it, got a better outlet. And his therapist asks, what is the outlet? And Deku says, her name's Toga. And the therapist's like, what do you mean she's an outlet? And Deku tells her, do I need to spell it out for you? And the therapist's like, yes, just so I'm not misunderstanding things. Deku tells her, she's the person I'm fucking. Like, it's pretty simple. That's a better outlet than talking to you. And the therapist is literally just shocked. Like, she is appalled to hear, like, a 15-year-old saying, yeah, I'm fucking. So yeah, she's just kind of shocked, and she does add that to the report. So Aizawa and Nezu, like, everyone at the staff knows Deku is having sex outside of school, and they contact Poseidon, and they're like, hey, you know your nephew's having sexual activities, and Poseidon's like, yeah, what of it? He's a man, he can do what he wants. And they're all just shocked that that's Poseidon's answer. Poseidon's like, look, he's 15, he's pretty much a man at this point. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. All I can do is just be there to help him along with it and protect him. I give him condoms, he uses the condoms. So, hey, like, Deku, he does not use condoms, but Poseidon's just saying that, so they're not making a big deal about it. But Toga is hanging around Deku more and more, and Toga is thinking about just trying to transfer over to UA to be closer to Deku. But Deku's telling her, like, hey, nah, just stay where you're at. And Toga's just like, look, I don't really care for where I'm at because no one accepts me, no one really likes me over there. You're pretty much the only person that's actually, liking me. And Deku tells her, well, you do have kind of a crazy personality, you know that. And she's like, you're one to talk. And Deku's just like, yeah, you're right about that. And of course, Bakugo, he comes over to see Deku and Poseidon's new arm is done, and it's fully attached. And what it is, it's a golden arm made from his trident's metal, but on the knuckles, it's basically like three spikes for where his trident was, and the middle one is longer, but they can retract inside his hand. So he sort of has like a combat mode and a normal mode for his hand. Think kind of like Wolverine's claws. That's how Poseidon's arm functions with the trident's, spikes. So that's that. And Poseidon's, telling Deku, like, hey, we need to talk about that incident. And, Bakugo's there and he's like, hey, I want to be in on this conversation too. I want to understand what he's up against and to see if I can help in any way. Poseidon looks at him. He's like, "Didn't you used to, try to bully him?" And Deku's like, "Oh no, we're cool now. Like, he's like family now." And Poseidon stares Bakugo down in the face and says, "If you ever betray him, there will not be a single place on this planet where you could hide that I won't find you and rip your head off your body and feed you to the fish." And Bakugo is damn scared of Poseidon because he knows who Poseidon is now. Like, everybody knows, but they kept it confidential. No one outside of the world knows about that. Not even Nezu knows. So they kind of just keep it on the down low. And Bakugo says, I understand, sir. So Poseidon's like, good. So they're talking about Nyx, and, he says, look, if she's able to revive people, it's only a matter of time before she masters bringing them back from the dead. And if that happens, we're going to have a fucking army against us. It's going to be another war. And Deku's like, look, why don't we try talking to Chaos? Seeing as how Chaos was displeased with Nyx, maybe Chaos would be willing to help us. And you said it yourself, if she's taking the powers of the other gods, somehow Chaos has to know about that and should be able to help us. And so Chaos appears out of nowhere because he's always listening. Chaos is, impressed with Deku's deductive reasoning. So Chaos appears. And I'm going to say, since it's not really specified how Chaos would actually look in Greek mythology, well, nowhere that I've seen. If there is, please comment down below and tell me. I'd be curious to know what Chaos looks like. I'm going to say Chaos appears in the shape of a man, a very Greek man, so it's not like, pale skin or extremely dark skin. He's kind of, in that middle area. I'm going to say he has long, dark brown hair, golden eyes, and he appears in front of Deku, and, Poseidon's just like, oh shit. And Chaos tells them, look, Nyx is doing this because you killed her. I thought giving her Hades' powers would allow her to resurrect her sons and she'd be happy. I never expected this. Giving her those powers allows her to escape from the underworld and come to this world freely at will. I knew she was eventually going to find out, but I thought it would take at least a few centuries, so everything would blow over, but it seems I was mistaken. She has quick aptitude for understanding these powers. And, Chaos sees Bakugo. And he can sense Bakugo's powers lie of explosion, and he's like, Poseidon, do you think this boy could be a potential new god? And Poseidon's like, him? A new god? You can't be serious. And Chaos is like, you need as many allies as you can get. This boy has shown remarkable bravery and loyalty to your nephew here. Would it not be appropriate to bestow even a fraction of power to him to test him? And Poseidon asks him, whose powers did you have in mind of bestowing upon Bakugo? And Chaos says, Helios, the sun god. His powers are already extremely close to that of Helios's. Explosions is just another form of fire. By giving him this, it will allow him to become stronger, a more capable fighter, although it will not put him at the same level as your nephew, so you don't have to worry. But still, it will help him better have your nephew's back in the future. And Poseidon's thinking about it, and he asks, is it possible to grant me more power than just dominion over the seas? And Chaos is like, what powers did you have in mind? Poseidon says, I want Ares' power. Give me the powers of the god of war. But that's not all. I also wish to have Athena's wisdom as well. And Chaos thinks it over, and he's like, that could work. And he asks Deku, which powers would he want? And Atlas, kind of just spoiled it right there. But Deku says, give me the strength of Atlas. And Chaos is shocked. He's like, you wish to have the strength of Atlas, the titan that carried the world on his shoulders? And Deku says, yes, I want the strength of Atlas. Chaos tells him, you already have the strength of Zeus. Surely that should be efficient enough strength. And Deku says, I want the strength of Atlas. And Chaos says, you can barely control the strength of Zeus as it is. I will not grant you the strength of Atlas just yet. Well, not all of it. I will give you 1/10 of his power as a gesture of goodwill. Once you have mastered that, I shall give you more in fractions. Each time you've mastered a part of his strength, I will give you 1/10 more. And Deku's like, that's fine. And Bakugo's just like, so am I getting any powers or... And Poseidon sighs and he's like, yes, give him the powers of Helios, but in fractions, just like you're doing with Izuku. And Chaos says, of course, a mere mortal can't instinctively hone in on the power of a god. He will need guidance and counsel. So of course I shall give him fractionate power. And Chaos grants Bakugo the power of Helios. But unlike Deku, Bakugo only gets 1/20th of Helios' powers, because Bakugo's not a demigod. If you gave him 1/10 of Helios' powers, Bakugo would immediately be overrun. And, you know, they're basically thinking, okay, nobody else should be able to get the power of a god, but Deku says, hey, what about Toga? And Poseidon says, what, your plaything? And Deku's like, no, no, no. Toga, she can be something else. Like, her heart's good. She's just misunderstood. And Poseidon remembers Zeus saying the same thing about Inko. And Poseidon sighs and he's like, this is something you'll have to talk to her about. I trust your judgment, but don't let it come back to bite you like it did your father so many times. And Poseidon walks out and he says, I'm late, but I'll take that power now. So Chaos grants Poseidon the powers of Ares and the wisdom of Athena. So now Poseidon is a master strategist in the art of war and the knower of infinite knowledge. So, yes, Poseidon is very much OP, and, you know, Chaos remarks to Poseidon, it seems you finally surpassed Zeus himself. He would be quaking in his boots. Poseidon says, if it's enough to reach Nyx, I'll be happy. And Chaos says, that all depends on you, Poseidon. And Poseidon walks off, going back to the office. Meanwhile, Bakugo and Deku take a minute to talk to Chaos more and get more information on Nyx and everything that's going on. And Bakugo's trying to get more information on what his powers are and how they're going to affect him moving forward. So Chaos is talking to them, but while Chaos is talking to them, Nyx is down in the underworld. And she's actually having a conversation with somebody. Someone whose soul has been chained and captured. Someone who Deku knows quite well. In fact, it's his mother, Inko. Her soul is being chained down, unable to pass to the afterlife by Nyx. As Nyx tells her everything that she's done to Deku and Poseidon, and just mentally tormenting Inko throughout the entirety of what's been going on. Like every action that Deku's had in reaction ever since Inko's death, Nyx has been telling her, because Nyx has kept Inko chained up, unable to pass. And Nyx is actually at the point now where she can fully revive two people of gods. Like, only two gods can she revive. Normal people she could revive an infinite amount of. However, she can only revive two gods. And she decides the best person, the person most well suited to dealing with a bastard of Zeus, would be no one else other than Hera, Queen of the Gods. So she fully restores Hera, body, soul, mind, and everything. Hera has been revived. And Hera sees Nyx and is scared to the bone, and she's like, Nyx, I did not know you had the power to revive. And Nyx says, I've recently been granted the power. See, when you gods die, your power does not die with you. It is sent back to Chaos, the father of all gods, and he can bestow the power onto infinite people. But once you're revived, as long as your power has not been passed on already, it comes back to you. it would seem your power has not been passed on. And as soon as Hera revived, Nyx feels it, and he tells them, the Queen of the Gods has returned. And Deku is shook, and Bakugo's confused. He's like, who's the Queen of the Gods? And Deku tells him, Hera, the wife of Zeus, my father's previous wife. And Bakugo's like, I doubt she's going to be happy to see you. And Chaos says, Hera is never happy to see a bastard of the son of, well, Zeus. And Deku's like, my life's going to become more of a hell, isn't it? And Chaos is like, yes. And he tells Bakugo sorry, but he's going to have to put more power into Bakugo to even stand a chance. And Bakugo's actually pretty scared at this. And Deku tells him he's got him. If he goes out of control, he'll just knock him out. So Bakugo agrees, and he gets another fraction of Helios's power. But he thinks it's not a fraction, but it's not. Chaos pours all of Helios's powers into Bakugo, but he locks them off in sections. So even though Bakugo has all of the power of Helios, it's locked off. He can't access it until he's able to master it. Then it'll slowly start to unlock as time goes on. Think of it as how Deku, he could tap into all of, One for All, but it would hurt his body. That's not the case with Bakugo. Even though if he's at his limit and he tries to push for more power, it won't come. Like, Chaos has severely put tight restrictions on Bakugo's body for the power to not go out of. Therefore, Bakugo is limited heavily, but he still leaps and bounds above everyone else at UA now. Like, he's even above Mirio, All Might, all of them. Because he has some of the strength of a god, and now he has the power of fire and the ability to blind people with the sun's rays from his eyes. So, yes, Bakugo just got a huge amp in power. And Chaos says he must return to beyond the veil before he is discovered, because that would not bode well for the two of them. And he tells Bakugo, keep your power under control and don't use it except for emergencies. Don't go showing it off, or you're going to make yourself and your family a target. And Bakugo understands he has to keep this a secret, so Nyx doesn't catch on. Meanwhile, down in the underworld, Hera is getting used to her new body. And Nyx starts telling her everything that's transpired, and Hera is pissed to know that there's a new son of Zeus running around. And, she asks for his name so she can kill his family. Nyx says that she's already done that. And that's his mother chained up right there. Her soul, in fact. And Hera asks, what if she attacked her soul? What would happen? Nyx tells her, you destroy her soul, she can never be revived. And Hera thinks, perfect. Nyx steps in and says, no, not yet. And Hera's like, what do you mean, not yet? And she explains, her son doesn't know her soul is still been able to see him and hear him and watch him. So, it would be meaningless to destroy her soul now. And Hera smiles evilly. And she says, "Perfect." But she asked for someone else to be brought back. Someone to help her. And Nyx asks her, "Who do you wish to be brought back?" And Hera thinks, let me see. And she instantly says, "Bring forth Thanatos." And Nyx is happy to hear the request, but states she simply cannot yet. Thanatos' soul is tangled. It's like it's trying to reincarnate somehow. She'll need more time and energy to fully unwrap Thanatos' soul and bring him back to full power. She's already resurrected the body, but the soul is something that's a bit more complex and complicated to do. So Hera thinks hard, and she's like, "How long would you need to fully revive Thanatos?" And she tells Hera roughly about a month or so. Hera says that's acceptable. After all, we have plenty of time to plan the death of the son of Zeus. So, yes, Hera is brought back and is already scheming. And Chaos, he's gone. Back to beyond the void of planet. So for the remaining 2.5 weeks, Bakugo is training with Deku to get a handle on his power, and Deku actually has a much better sparring partner now for him to learn to control and to get a handle on his new strength of Atlas. So, yeah. And just to clarify some things, yes, I know that Chaos probably couldn't bestow upon powers, but for this what if, I'm saying he can. Just because he was the father of all the gods, so yeah, that's where I'm coming from with that. Like, so don't get all butthurt, if you think that, he can't, because trust me, as far as I know, he can't. I'm just saying he can for the sake of this what if. So, yeah. Sports Festival is approaching. As soon as they get back to school, everyone is, they're looking and they see Deku and Bakugo. They walk in together and they notice Bakugo is a lot more jacked and ripped. And so is Deku. But they also notice that something different. Almost as like Deku is looked up to Bakugo with more respect than he normally did. And All Might, he kind of texts Aizawa that he wants to see Bakugo. And Bakugo is called to All Might's office. And Bakugo gets there and All Might says, "I have a proposition for you." And Bakugo says, "Okay, what's the proposition?" And All Might says, "What if I told you that I could give you my quirk to make you stronger, to make you catch up to Izuku Midoriya?" And like, Bakugo's like, dude, there's no way your quirk could ever get me up anywhere close to where he's at. He's at God tier level, man. Like, trust me. He just got an increase in strength. And All Might tells him, all the more reason for you to get an increase in strength as well. And Bakugo tells him, let me think about it. I'll let you know before the sports festival begins in about a few weeks. And All Might says, alright, don't keep me waiting too long. And I'm actually going to let you guys decide this. Do you want Bakugo to inherit One for All, or do you want him to not have it and focus more on Helios's power? Because whichever you guys decide, it will heavily affect Mirio in the story going forward. So I do want you guys to think about all possibilities when you come up with this, but comment down below, do you want Bakugo to have One for All or not? And anyways, that's where I'm going to be leaving it off for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys later.